This is a normal voice analysis. No matter what the subject matter they talk, they're still doing the same thing. You know, it's almost the same. This one, you know, you see, this is like a mixture of all of them. You know, you can't get exactly the same in each. Actually, if you get exactly the same and you, in the 1 minute to the next, that's really weird. That's even less, because there's a lot of things going on in your body and a lot of metabolic exchanges. This is just the opposite. For example, this is very incoherent. This would not do a bell curve at all, but this would be very noticeable, but still, this is the same person, different voices, but you still would say that this is the missing note. But look at that, when missing completely almost, and a big imbalance, even though it has all the notes. If they're a little nervous, yes, it will change. But for example, with me, that I'm perfectly fluent in Spanish and English, it wouldn't change. Okay? But if they're nervous or they have different intonations, but it changes very slightly. It also changes when you change the subject matter. If you really, what happens is in a voice analysis, you maybe from 5 minutes to the next day, you say, okay, get yourself sad. They don't get enough sad to really portray it in their voice. And sometimes you say, tell them something that, if they talk about something that stressed them in the past, might get them a lot of energy because that has been passed. And sometimes someone is going to talk about something that they really think that gives them energy, and they're in love with this person and it's so wonderful. And they're talking in nonsense. How maybe you don't believe it's true. You know, so because what it portrays is your enthusiasm, is your energy, and how you're actually feeding with your voice, with the vibration and the frequencies of your voice, all of your glands and all of your system. You know, so when you talk monotone, you're not feeding all of them. Yeah. Well, you know that depends. Well, more or less, we are not entering into those particulars. The voice of the child maybe changes according to the language, and maybe changes according to the mother or the father, if they talk to the mother or the father. But then it's stable, mostly when they're kids, you know, they keep changing. They still haven't found their place. So maybe finally when they adapt and they're grown up, they've taken one or the other, okay? Regardless the language they talk. But of course, that is always confusing adaptability. What I can say is that when a person keeps changing their voice, it always coincides that they are in a transitory emotional or a transitory time in their life, you know? But when they are stuck in one voice, they are chronic. It's worse. So here we have another sample, okay, where you see, we see this person has this excess, but it can change the voice enough to give that. Look, this person has changed so much, we don't know, okay, well, what is the missing note? You know, if you see, it's always red, okay, red, orange. We always stay within 3 notes. Well, this one, you know, there's a lot of people are like this. And if you, because of whatever, you talk, you know, slow, and you don't want to bother anybody, and you want to seem like you're very calm, well, you're not energizing your body. You need to be alive. We need to be happy to be alive, enthusiastic, and then you have a perfect voice and you're actually feeding all the organs, feeding all the systems, all the functions. You know, it's a lot of vibration going inside your body. Then what I do with the prisms too is put it on the body, and this person, actually, you ask them where they feel something, if they feel it here, because these prisms, which are not the ones I have here, this is a certain type of optic glass that doesn't let the UV through. These other prisms that I have leave the UV until 200 nanometers. And if I have quartz crystal, that a prism that this size of quartz crystal could be 2,000 euros. So the person, actually, you tell them where you feel it, and they feel it here, where the ultraviolet is, and they feel like a little tingling sensation, like they were in the sun. That's because they're receiving ultraviolet there, and they are producing vitamin D. I guess I don't have to tell you about vitamin D, because that, I will have to say it in Spain, even though everybody has a lot of sun there, and they never like that. Nobody told them not to take the sun, but here, a lot of doctors are coming and saying about the benefits of UV and light exposure and sun exposure, so I guess that I don't have to get into that. You all know about it. So I'm going to go now how I do what is the most impacting, say, very strong therapy, which is deciding the missing color from the voice analysis and putting the prism in the sun when the sun allows it. We have to be flexible, adaptable. Today there's no sun, we can't do it. So, and then put it into the eyes, the missing color, and they are blinking like for 2 minutes. Then we put something dark for 2 minutes so that it's absorbed, and then blink it again like 20 minutes, 4 times more or less. And there's many, many reactions. The reactions are immediate. The reactions are very strong. So that's why I've only done it, like I've made myself my laboratory, being the director of the School of Cranial Therapy. We had 3 therapists for each patient. The only thing is that when I did it in the past, the patients we have were really, really heavy cases of cerebral palsy, of cancer, things like that, so I could do so much. You couldn't do it on people really sick, okay? I wouldn't dare to do it. And I also did it with a lot of caution, because I had all my therapists there so that they would actually will help if something happened. So what happens with the voice, that starts what happens immediately after the sun exposure is that the complementary color, that the one that you've exposed, goes up, shoots up, and then it sort of comes down, and in an hour or 2, like a domino, and gets to another stability. So one has to be careful not to give, for example, in this case, if we decide to give blue, which is the opposite of orange, we're dealing with a little danger, because we don't want this orange to go higher. So instead of blue, I would give violet. And by giving violet, this lemon came up a lot, and this is how it stabilized at the end. This won't last very much. Okay, but you've actually moved the voice, or you've moved the body to do something different. The reactions could be emotional, mystical, or physical for a couple of days. And sometimes the healing of things are immediate, forever. But, you know, I haven't done enough, because now I'm teaching self-cranial with biosonic cranial with sound and light therapies, and I'm teaching a group of people that are normal, finally. I have my own laboratory in my teaching courses. I'm teaching them how to do cranial work, so that at the end of the six weekends of every month, they know enough cranial so that we can do this in normal people. And then I will have a better reaction, because I couldn't do that much with what I did then in these intensives. So here we have another. This is what happened at the end, but this is how the person was at the beginning. This is the after the treatment, which the complementary color, the color that comes up, and then how it stabilizes to something different, that it's moving in at 1 hour later. I've done EEG with them, and I've done EKG as well. The EEG, delta waves go really wild. So delta waves deal with light and color. So they really go much more after the light treatment or during the light treatment. Then EKG, I used an EKG that was actually before the Heart Mouth Institute, and here is the heart rate variability. But this is telling you when you feel something, you have peaks of harmonics, and this is coherence. And these numbers here portray 2 different emotions. I helped discover the different, this would be sincerity. But when you do 0.618, which is the phi of sacred geometry proportion, 6.618, or when you get to 6.6, you're feeling wonder, love, you're feeling this. This is more a truth.